Hello YouTube and welcome back to Supreme Commander 2. Today we've got a very high level 1v1 match on Ishtar Cliffs between OSS Jaywix, just Jaywix we'll be calling him, in the orange UEF. Let's go ahead and press play. And his opponent in the blue Cybran is going to be FieryKetchup. Now, Mr. Fiery here, also a very high level player. You've already seen Jaywix appear on this channel. He was in an excellent match against Iron Commander that I cast a week or two ago. So very much looking forward to see what these two players have to bring in this match. This is another match, you guessed it, from the tournament that was played some time ago now. I promise I will eventually be casting matches that were not from the tournament, but the tournament has so many good matches to offer. God, you'll have to excuse me if I fumble over my words a little bit. I've actually recorded a few videos tonight, so my voice is starting to get a little bit strained. But Jaywix is going to go for the triple land opener here and go straight into that loyalist spam as Cybran. That Siren is so well known for, especially on a map like this. He's going to be able to shut down all the expansion efforts of the UEF here. UEF has a very difficult matchup here on the close range support here. The loyalist spam from triple factory Cybran plus commander support and having such a close distance. This map is actually fairly big. It can be played as a 3v3, but these center spawns are still relatively close to each other. Close enough that a meaningful UEF defense is hard to get up in time. Speaking of which, the UEF defense Jaywix is going to go for here is going to be 2 land, 1 air. He opened 1 air up on the cliffs to get the mass in the backline as well as get some of those bombers out. Bombers going to be key here to try and shut down some of these early harassments. The Cybran commander from Fiery is going to be marching across the map here to support his forward units, just like I said they would. It's going to be some support, so the loyalists being split off to come in from either side, forcing Jaywix to pick and choose where and what he fights. Hey, wow! Turret going to come up here on the front lines for FieryKetchup, putting the mass aside for that turret, managing his production very well in order to make sure he had enough to do that. It means that this turret's going to get up here on the front line. The factory shield and missile expansion is not constructed yet, meaning that this turret's just gonna kill this entire front line. Mass ejector down, radar is down, factory soon to follow. Commander is gonna move in here and start dealing with these rockhead tanks. Gonna keep the turret nice and healed up. Turret's gonna stay alive. Jaywix with his own commander attempting to keep the factory alive here. Bombers trying to finish off this turret with some help from the factory missiles are eventually going to manage. There we go, but an anti-air turret now going to go up immediately as more loyalists pour into the base here. Wow, this is immediately a terrible position for Jaywix, and honestly, it's not what I would have predicted. I kind of expect Jaywix to win this match just based on what I know about these two players. FieryKetchup making an excellent showing here. Wow. Turrets flowing up for Jaywix, but Jaywix is not able to keep up. The loyalists are already on top of his turret production here. Why are they not? There we go. Needs to target the commander down here. Bomber's going to be used for the AoE damage. The commander is not going to be able to be killed on this pass. There's repairs coming out from this engineer. There's bomber support coming in. But huge amounts of slowdown have been done to the orange UEF commander here. Jaywix losing center mass now. An anti-air tower going to go up in his backline, shutting down the bomber support. Turret's now going to shut down the loyalists that are in his base. He's not going to be bleeding any more mass, but there's another group of loyalists coming out of this triple land factories being sent one group at a time of about 8 to 10 loyalists each time. Going to be used with the commander to again focus down these turrets. Even if he doesn't manage to kill the commander here, so much mass has been invested into the defense here for Jaywix. This has got to be an inefficient trade here for Jaywix. I can only imagine that the cost of these turrets going down repeatedly, as well as having this mass not built for so long, has got to be... I honestly, I want to feel like this is an efficient trade here for Jaywix, but having said that, he is actually going to force the commander back here. It looks like turrets are eventually going to get up in enough numbers. Yeah, 3 turrets here with the factory shield support, as well as the missile support from the factory add-on. This factory being reestablished, and some land forces with bomber support finally getting up. Jaywix is going to stabilize. I don't believe it. I can't believe he's going to stabilize here. I could never. I could never. I would have never been able to. I would have died. I think I would have just died. I don't think I could have defended this. I think most players would find themselves extremely hard put to stay alive in this situation, much less have the morale to continue going. Having this backline mass is probably what saved Jaywix in that situation, having the resources to continue putting those turrets down and attempting to stay in the fight, and not somehow didn't get his commander focused down by enough forces to simply ignore the turrets. Yeah, there was just not enough mass put into these loyalists here. There wasn't enough production capabilities, maybe, or perhaps too many units were sent into their deaths in smaller groupings. Perhaps a larger single group should have been sent forwards. But either way, both commanders now going to stabilize. I wish I could get a stats readout of the total massacre. There is a eco viewer made by Alpha Hex that I can use. However, the last time I tried to use it, I couldn't get it to work because I'm stupid. So I may attempt to reinstall that and see if I can get that working. But either way, go check Alpha Hex out on YouTube because he made the Eco Viewer, and he's also got plenty of awesome Supreme Commander 2 videos on his channel. So be sure to check him out. I will actually link him in the description since I'm talking about his stuff. Loyalist going to shut down the expansion. He wants to prevent this UEF commander from getting any larger than he already is. UEF is generally considered the hardest faction play as in like competitive gameplay. However, that being said, it is an absolute monster if it's allowed to exist for too long. If the expansion is allowed to happen here and serious production capabilities are brought online for this UEF commander, the Cybran commander will be the one who finds himself on the back foot and unable to really do anything meaningful to stop this UEF menace. Bomber's going to kill these loyalists slowly as they wander back towards base. Research coming up for both. So, wait, what was the control K of these loyalists here? Why did he control K those? Was it just because he knew they were going to die? I wonder if that was calculated in order to prevent. Did you get additional research from combat? It's not a huge amount, but maybe enough to matter. I would actually be very interested to know whether or not Fiery did that on purpose to prevent speeding up the opponent's research, or if it was just for micro purposes to avoid giving free kills out and to prevent himself from having to try to micro those away from the entire base. I'd be curious to know if there was a reason behind that, or if it was just kind of a, okay, I don't want to deal with these anymore right now. Be gone, you're dead anyway. Anti-air turret going to prevent Jaywix from shutting down the Cybran expansion here. The Cybran notably has not built that air factory in the cliffs in order to get the free and easy expansion, nor does he have jump jets, I don't believe, to get these free expansion. And honestly, that might be the only reason that Jaywix was able to stay in this game. Now he's gone up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 research stations, whereas there's only 3 research stations here for Mr. FieryKetchup. A 4th now coming up. But yeah, these 4 additional mass has probably been what changed the name of the game here. Because of that, the economy here is actually pretty even, despite the fact that Jaywix has not been able to expand. Also, this is a transport, and he's dropped mobile missile launchers into the back line of the base. He must have recognized that there was nothing up here based on the amount of output he was seeing. Or perhaps he was just hoping there was nothing out here. I mean, certainly, who would put land defenses up here, right? As the Cybran. And now the mobile missile launchers, the meteors, have been dropped off to kill the core mass for the Cybran player. Wow. Brutal, honestly. Super brutal. What can he do about this? Nothing. He built no air, and any attempt to build a factory up there now is obviously going to just get shut down. He's going to be forced into jump jets in order to deal with this now. That's crazy. Absolutely brutal and efficient move here from Jaywix, the UEF commander. This transport and these few mobile missile launchers is going to make a huge, huge difference. Going to kill energy, kill factories, going to shut down these mass extractors, and going to prevent the rebuilding of anything in the vicinity of the cliffs here from Ishtar Cliffs without a serious investment into either anti-missile or a research investment into something like jump jets. Brackman's now out. Land forces attempting to shut down this factory before the megalith can be produced, but Brackman's going to be absolutely ruthless here if they're AoE, shutting down all of these tanks. Let's get a good shot of this. Brackman's going to shut all of that down almost completely. Yeah, minimal losses here on the ground, but these mobile, I can't get over that. These meteors are just a nightmare here for the Cybern Commander. First Megalith is produced. He's got Adapter, Brackman, and Loyalist support here for any close range engagements. Moving in to start whittling away the factory shields here. Fat Boy coming out for Jaywix, but it's not out yet, meaning this engagement is free for at least another few seconds while we wait on this Fat Boy. Also going to be good, easy damage on these tanks. Yeah, these tanks cannot take this engagement here. They have no hope of taking this fight right now. Shield Generator going to come up there, and what this Shield Generator does is it allows these tanks to come in and sit at the edge of the shield so that they can be closer to being in engagement range, forcing the Megalith to keep its distance shield span from the commander under the protection of the factory shield here, going to mean that this Megalith is unable to actually do a whole lot. Yeah, very well played. Very well played here from Jaywix. Gonna buy himself plenty of time for this Fat Boy to get up and start shelling away at a distance. Gonna also mean that he continues to stay stable here, and now the Cybern is for sure on the back foot, down by 5 mass extractors, up by 4, meaning that he's mass for mass. He should be down, I think it's only 4 mass. You know what? Let's count. Let's slow the game down here and count mass extractors here. We've got 1, 2 mass extractors, a third going up, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mass extractors. Make that 7 because this one's going to die. I think 7 mass extractors for FieryKetchup versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mass extractors for Jaywix. Yeah, Jaywix pulling into an economic lead here, all thanks to these mobile missile launchers. These mobile missile launchers are brutal and are going to completely shut down the back lines for the Cybern Commander. That being said, though, the Cybern's not out of it yet. With enough Megaliths, he can still make it happen, as theoretically Megaliths are more efficient in the trade-off against the Fat Boys. But the Fat Boy sitting under this shield coverage like this, going to be hard-pressed. He needs to get a Cicada out, and look, right as I say it, there's the Cicada. Cicada is going to come out and generate the stealth field, meaning that the Fat Boy is going to be forced to focus on what is essentially a 20,000 health pool tank. Going to eat up all of that damage as long as it's within range of the other units here, which it currently is not. Going to mean that the Megaliths can just sit here and wail on these shields for free. That being said, there are quite a few shields here. There's 3 up already, a 4th well on the way, plus the factory shield. And only, well, there's the second Fat Boy. 2 Fat Boys now out to try to deal with this Cybern push. Jaywix has been on the defensive this entire match. Very few offensive plays have been able to been made for him. These meteors, probably the only one. Transport has actually been used to lower them down on below the cliffs so that they continue to press forward and deal more damage. Fat Boy's coming in, dealing some damage to the Cicada. A second experimental gantry gonna go down. Attempting to expand his production, a third gantry, going all in on the experimentals now. He's foregone regular land factories completely. His energy production is down. There are mobile missiles in the back line dealing serious damage here to the economy sector for our Cybern player. FieryKetchup finding himself suddenly on the back foot despite his massive early game plays that should have slowed Jaywix down, honestly, by a significant degree, and just didn't. Jaywix masterfully surviving this attack here. Shields up now, going to mean that meaningful damage against the Fat Boys is going to be difficult at best, impossible at worst for the Cybern Commander. All of these forces have gone down here. All these basic land forces are gone. There's no more adapter support. There's no more real loyalist or Brackman support. It's just the experimentals now, the only things with enough health to sustain themselves. Cicada's actually being pulled away from the Megalith and microed back and forth to dodge as many shots as possible from these Fat Boys, delaying the inevitable. These 2 Megaliths, though, are not going to cut it. Yeah, they're just not going to be enough to break the shielding here. Shield's going to continue to be a problem. Mobile missiles continuing to wail on this back line pretty much for free. Loyalist finally going to spot them and move to engage them and shut them down. And there we go. Finally, these meteors that have caused so much damage are gonna get killed. Not any bombers still being produced, as there's no need. There's only a few left here over on the side, just perhaps waiting to make sure there's no engineer coming out. 3 fat boys out now, a 4th fat boy, plenty of tanks, plenty of shields, air dominance, and expansion finally underway for Jaywix. Jaywix now well and truly in the lead in this match. 3 and 4 megaliths, but one is going to die. A second one is going to die. There we go. Cicada's trying to be microed here. A single meteor still alive. It hasn't been killed and is dealing more damage. He managed to... Wow! And these meteors, man. FieryKetchup recognizing the position that he's in, understanding that he can no longer break the UEF turtle. This is a monstrous defensive formation here. Very difficult to deal with as the Cybern without significant investment. Artillery perhaps could have done something here, but the investment into artillery would have simply enabled Jaywix to understand that he could push inwards into your base. Yeah, FieryKetchup gonna throw it in the towel here. What a wonderful match that was. That was excellent. That was superb even. Incredible showing of how to play UEF from Jaywix, surviving an early game Cybern onslaught, something a lot of players struggle to deal with when they're learning how to play at a competitive level. So very well done to both of these guys. Incredible showing. And if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I will be uploading more Supreme Commander 2 content in the near future, and we'll see you in the next video.